I want to be very, very clear. Yes, we took a $17 million budget cut. And as we know, any budget cut would negatively impact our ability to carry out our mission. I want to also clarify that I'm not a politician. I'm a public servant. It's my job as the fire chief for Los Angeles City Fire Department to make sure that our firefighters have exactly what they need to do their jobs. And that's why I'm talking to you today. The Palisades fire, everybody's seen it. It is absolutely one of the most horrific natural disasters in the history of Los Angeles. And even with an additional 100 engines, I tell you, we were not going to catch that fire. But with that being said, let me be clear. The $17 million budget cut and the elimination of our civilian positions like our mechanics did and has and will continue to severely impact our ability to repair our apparatus. So with that, we have over 100 fire apparatus out of service. And having these apparatus in the proper amount of mechanics would have helped. And so it did absolutely negatively impact. I want to also be clear that I have, over the last 3 years, been clear that the fire department needs help. We can no longer sustain where we are. We do not have enough firefighters.
A few moments later.
NBC4 News at 5 starts with breaking news.
That breaking news after growing criticism and a one-on-one interview with NBC4's Robert Kovacic. LA Fire Department Chief Kristen Crowley has now been summoned to meet with Mayor Karen Bass.
He joins us live from LA City Hall with breaking details you'll see only on 4. Robert.
Michael and Colleen, you are exactly right, and I am going to quote you here because that is what sources told us. It is a complex and perhaps head-scratching moment in the firefight going on right now throughout the city of Los Angeles. Sources told NBC4 that Fire Chief Kristen Crowley this afternoon had been summoned to Mayor Bass's office, and that is where we are right now. We are standing outside of the office where the meeting that took place at 4 o'clock is still underway.
When you're talking about Pacific Palisades, Los Angeles, Santa Monica, Malibu, like a whole bunch of people have been out here complaining about Mayor Bass, what are you doing? First of all, Santa Monica and Malibu, last I checked, that's not LA, if I'm correct. I think they have their own cities. The second thing that you've seen is you've seen lots of lies going around. There are all these reports that first came out saying that, Mayor Karen Bass and the Los Angeles City Council cut the fire department budget by $17 million. Well, we know that is an absolute lie. It's a lie. It's a flat out lie.
What's up, y'all? Gerald here, creator of Gospel Chops and your host for this YouTube channel, back with another video. Now, y'all, by this time, I know everyone around the world has heard about the fire in LA. I hesitate to call it a wildfire because I'm not so sure that it is wild. There's been some reports of arson. There's been some reports that a week before the fire, the mayor of Los Angeles was going to cut the fire budget by an additional $49 million. Well, there's one thing that came to mind when I saw that story in the Daily Mail. You're going to continually cut the budget of fire that's already short? You're going to force fire to close down some fire stations and lay off some people? You've already laid off people that didn't want to get the jab. They're already short-staffed. They're already undermanned. And they got basically a graveyard with about 100 automobiles, trucks, pickups, ladder trucks that are just sitting there, unrepaired, unusable, because the budget has been cut. So put yourself in the position of a fireman, a fire captain, a fire chief. If they just keep cutting your budget, keep cutting you off at the knees, every time you try to get ahead, they just set you back more and more. Well, one thing you got to do in this political climate is make your job relevant. You got to make yourself seem needed. Well, we got a whole fire department out here, but y'all ain't putting out no fires. Well, what are we going to do? We need some fires to put out, don't we? Just makes sense, does it not? I don't want to be cynical about the situation because I know there are some weather issues going on. I know there are some water conservation issues that are going on. I know there are all kind of political issues that are taking place in this circumstance, but y'all, sit back and think about it for a second. And here you got this guy who says, well, you can't blame it all on the mayor of LA. Last I checked, that's what he said. Malibu had its own mayor. Some of those little enclaves got their own city council. Listen, this is why we go so hard against these Democrat operatives, these paid operatives and apparatchiks of the Democrat Party, because they will sit in your face and lie to you straight up. A few weeks ago, I was driving back from LA, coming back to Northern California. Got as far out of the city, about an hour and a half or so, all the way to the Grapevine, y'all. I'm way outside of LA. There was a massive fire in the hills going over the Grapevine. Thousands of acres set ablaze. And you know who was right there helping put that fire out? That's right, Los Angeles Fire Department. You know why? Because everyone in that region is dependent upon the city of LA. Let's not pretend like Malibu has its own fire department that can handle something like this. Let's not pretend like the Palisades have their own department who can handle this. No, this is under the jurisdiction of Los Angeles because they have the resources, supposedly, until they started cutting them recently, which is why you see the fire chief crying out here on the news because she don't want to have her head on a plate. But when you get a situation like this, it invokes the circular firing squad, which is what we're seeing now, where the mayor is shooting at the fire chief and the fire chief is shooting at the mayor and the mayor is shooting at the police chief and the police chief is shooting back at the mayor who's shooting at the sheriff. And here you have residents, taxpayers of this area, and all they want is their stuff. Well, some of them, a lot of them, ain't getting their stuff back ever. But they're asking legitimate questions. Where's the water? There's a fire hydrant right there. Why doesn't it work? We pay taxes. Y'all keep raising our property taxes just to live here, and we can't get no services when we need them. What is going on with government? Well, you know what's going on. They stealing the money. Yeah. They taking that money and they redirecting it to their pet projects. They're putting their friends in place as DEI hires and paying them exorbitant salaries. Oh yeah, they're well taken care of, y'all. But you, as a taxpayer, you, as a resident, you, as a citizen, are not taken care of at all.
I arrived shortly after it started, and for several hours we watched as hundreds of homes in a neighborhood burned to the ground. We did not see a single fire engine. We watched as Good Samaritans guided traffic. There was fear and there was a lot of confusion. You were out of the country at the time. Shortly after the fire started, a press release was put out warning of this fire behavior. My question to you is, what explains this lack of preparation and rapid response?
Let me just say, first and foremost, my number one focus, and I think the focus of all of us here with one voice, is that we have to protect lives, we have to save lives, and we have to save homes. Rest assured that, rest assured, let me finish. Rest assured, when that is done, when we are safe, when lives have been saved and homes have been saved, we will absolutely do an evaluation to look at what worked, what didn't work, and to correct or to hold accountable any body, department, individual, etc. But my focus right now is on the lives and on the homes.
Do you think your leadership was effective while responding to this disaster?
I just said what I believe is the most.
The lady that cut the funding from the fucking fire hydrants.
Karen Bass. Fuck her.
Fire her.
They have no water.
They actually have no water?
No, I actually asked him, this guy right here. I said, how do you have no water? He said, we have no water.
Oh my God.
We have nothing.
That's so fucked up, man.
Urgently called for the immediate recall of Mayor Karen Bass due to her gross mismanagement and failure to effectively respond to the devastating 2020 fires. In the wake of these catastrophic fires, our city has been left in crisis. Water supplies have been severely strained. Billions of taxpayer dollars have been misallocated or left unaccounted for, and countless lives have been lost. Families have been displaced, homes destroyed, livelihoods shattered, yet Mayor Bass has been absent from the front lines, choosing to travel abroad while her constituents suffer. Despite the tireless efforts of our first responders, the city has been woefully unprepared to ensure the safety and well-being of its residents. Basic resources such as water and emergency services have been inadequate, and leadership has been nowhere to be found when it was needed most. We demand the immediate resignation of Mayor Karen Bass due to her failure to lead during this unprecedented crisis. It goes on. I'm signing the petition right now during the commercial break, and let's put a link on our website for it, because I think everybody, it's not only for residents of that.
Tonight, anger and a search for where to put it. Los Angelinos are fighting through the worst days of their lives, and they're trying to figure out who to point the finger at to explain this gut punch loss that they are wading through right now. President-elect Donald Trump is faulting the governor, Gavin Newsom.
Gavin Newsom had an opportunity to have millions of gallons a week, a day, millions and millions of gallons come down from the north. And I was able to get him federal approval from that, from the Department of Commerce of all departments. I didn't realize it would go through Commerce. I would have thought environmental, but it goes through Commerce. I got all of the approvals, and he said, I don't want to sign it. I don't want the water.
Number one, there is no shortage of water in the Los Angeles area. The reservoirs are at or above historical levels. The water is there. Now, we have seen high-profile issues in one part of the city, Pacific Palisades, where some hydrants were dry or did not have a lot of water. But that was not because there was not enough water in the region. That was because of technical, logistical, infrastructure issues related to the hilly, mountainous terrain and the location where water tanks have been situated. So the idea that not enough water has been sent down from the north and instead has been, protecting a little fish there, and that's why we're seeing these fires be hard to contain, simply does not bear out at all.
So here you have Karen Bass, who is a longtime California politician who has been a grifter as long as I've known of her in California politics. She's been active in the California legislature. She's been active in the House of Representatives in D.C. Y'all, she's been around for a while, but she's always been a grifter for her entire career. And she has found herself as the mayor, a DEI hire herself, because she don't have no credentials to be the mayor of one of America's major cities. And I think she's proving it now. We're all starting to see it now. Oh, now you're on display. Yeah, you thought you was bad, but now that spotlight on you, it don't feel so good now, does it, sis? You thought it was going to be smooth sailing. You could just ride this off into the sunset. This is going to be your last go-round. You're going to get one last good grift on Southern California. Well, she's finding out that there are some things that are out of her control. And politics makes for strange bedfellows. And when you get that spotlight put on you, don't nobody want to be around you. Don't nobody want to associate with you or affiliate with you. And now she's lashing out and saying, I think I want to fire my fire chief. Let's fire the chief. Maybe that'll save me because I'm getting all this heat. I'm getting all of this pressure. And pressure bust pipes. Don't worry if the pipe busts, ain't no water in there anyway. But here's Karen Bass. And she says, oh, well, you want to go on the news with all of this pressure going on? This media pressure campaign against me? You want to go on the news and talk against me? I need you to come to my office ASAP. Stacked today. Get here now. Not now, but right now. I need you in my office. What does a fire chief do? She goes around and has a teary-eyed meeting with her staff. She gives teary-eyed hugs to everybody and say, y'all, this is it for me. I'm about to lose my head. They done busted out the guillotine in the mayor's office. I got to go down there and deal with it. Sorry, y'all. This is it. She goes down there to talk to the mayor. And some way, somehow, she comes out with her job. And in situations like this, it had to be political. She said, hey, I know you want my head mayor. I know you want my job. I know you want to make me the sacrificial lamb for this fiasco that's going on. But before you do that, Mayor, I need you to open this envelope and see what's in there. Before you do that, Mayor, I need you to take this phone call. I got somebody who'd like to speak to you. And you open that envelope and there goes some picture you don't want to ever get out. Or somebody is on the phone and they tell you a message you don't want anybody else to know in life. And the mayor says, oh, well, I guess I won't fire you today. You're doing a bang-up job. You're doing a stellar job. Keep at it. Just stop throwing me under the bus in the news and we can all get along. We can go along to get along and we'll be good. We'll get through this. Well, Mrs. Mayor, I don't think you're going to get through it. I don't think you're going to survive. I don't think Gavin Newsom is going to survive. He's definitely never going to be the president of the United States, in my opinion. No, you're not going to make it through this one. Because this is so disastrous. This is so chaotic that you have tens of thousands of homes and structures, y'all. Tens of thousands. I just need you to wrap your mind around that and understand how massive that is. Seem like Roland think it's just a little itty bitty thing. He's trying to play it down because he's trying to protect the people who pay him. We get it. We understand where you sit, where you stand, what you're talking about. That's why we don't pay you no more attention in the community. Because we understand your position. But when you have tens of thousands of homeowners, in this area in particular, tens of thousands of taxpayers in this area, well, you got thousands of millionaires. Yeah, you got thousands of people with resources. You got $20 million homes on Malibu Beach that will never be rebuilt. You got some angry millionaires, not a couple of them, but probably thousands of angry millionaires. You think they're not going to react to this? Oh, you're going to feel more pressure than you've ever felt in your political career. They're going to run you up out of town. And it's going to be good for California. And what's good for California is good for America. When you can vote them Democrats out. When you can make political change for the better. For the betterment of this state and the betterment of this country. Well, we should all feel good about that now, shouldn't we?
We do have an update. We told you about that press conference. That was really interesting because it was only law enforcement. The mayor did not attend. Kristen Crowley did not attend either, the chief of the fire department. We did get word that the two met. There were rumors floating around that the mayor may have fired Kristen Crowley. That is not true. We heard from the mayor's department, and they are saying that Kristen Crowley was not fired. She did not quit. She has not resigned, and the safety of Angelenos is top priority. In fact, here is a reportable quote from the mayor's office. They say, the mayor and chief met. The priority remains fighting these fires and protecting Angelenos. So that's the extent of what we know, and this very high-profile meeting between the mayor and the fire chief. So we still don't know what was discussed in that meeting, but they did not attend that press conference. We'll gather more information and bring it to you as soon as we get it.
Did the city of Los Angeles fail you and your department and our city?
It's my job to stand up as a chief and exactly say, justifiably, what the fire department needs to operate to meet the demands of the community.
Did they fail you?
That is our job. And I tell you, that's why I'm here. So let's get us what we need so our firefighters can do their jobs.
Did they fail you?
Yes.
Wow. Chief Kristen Crowley, I believe the anchors wanted to ask a question.
Yes,
had some comments.
We do, Gigi. If you could please ask her regarding the Times article that came out that the Santa Ynez Reservoir was closed to repairs and it was empty. 117 million gallons of water could have been used in this fight.
The question is about the Santa Ynez Reservoir being empty. There's been a lot of questions about that.
Sure. So my stance on this is when a firefighter comes up to a hydrant, we expect there's going to be water. We don't control the water supply. Our firefighters are there to protect lives and property and to make sure that we're properly trained and equipped. That's my position on this. So if there's no water, I don't know how the water gets to the hydrants. Please defer that to DWP or whomever controls that part. But I can tell you the resiliency of our firefighters, if there's no water, they're going to go find water. They're going to figure out a way to do the best they can with what they've got in a very dynamic situation.
And I know you expressed concerns that those DWP hydrants would not be inspected thoroughly because of the budget cuts.
That is something to discuss, and we're going to look into that in regard to how we can ensure there's going to be water when we need it. But in the end, I'm going to defer that to DWP and whomever else controls the supply. I can guarantee you that when our firefighters showed up on that day with what they had, they did absolutely everything they could do to rescue and to save people's lives and property. And that's the bottom line. Now let's get them what they need to do their jobs. And so
let's get them water, Chief, because I was with your firefighters and they literally were watching a house burn down with pain in their eyes, not being able to do anything except pull water from a swimming pool to try to save a nearby structure that wasn't burning, and literally watching a house burn to the ground because they had no water.
That's exactly right. But did they continue to work? And did they continue to do what they had to do the best they could with what they had? Yes.
Chief, follow-up. Thank you very much for talking to us. We appreciate it. I believe we have a follow-up question from the studio.
Question on that reservoir issue. Is the fire department aware of when these resources are depleted, just like that reservoir had no water? Was she aware of that fact, that it was under construction and there was no water there?
Sandra Endo, one of our anchors, wants to know if the department is advised that the Santa Ynez Reservoir was going to be emptied. Were you aware that there was no water there?
No, we weren't aware of that.
They don't have to advise you?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
So you had no idea that there wasn't such needed resource?
No.
And there you have it, y'all. Fire Chief Kristen Crowley out there speaking her piece, telling y'all, letting you know straight up, no, we are underfunded. We ain't got the resources. This fire is too big for us to handle because our budget has been cut. We've been underfunded. We are under-resourced. And this is something that we are not capable of handling with your tax dollars, with your trust. We can't handle it. Came across this story that said Los Angeles Fire Chief Kristen Crowley is clinging onto her job by a thread, sources say, after she hugged staff goodbye and entered a meeting with the mayor. Crowley told staff in her office she was getting fired by Mayor Karen Bass at a meeting 4 p.m. on Friday. But she emerged from the meeting saying she was still in her job. For now. Well, let's hope that you are all only still in your jobs for now. Fire Chief, go. Mayor, go. Governor, go. All your assistants, go. Coastal Council, go. City Council, go. Everybody up out of there and replace them with competent people that are well vetted by the taxpayers. Is that too much to ask? I don't know. Y'all let me know in the comments. I'd love to know your thoughts on this as the Democrats shoot at each other. Seem like they can't handle the pressure. We'll see how all this washes out. Hopefully they'll get some water in there to wash out the fire. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to know what you think about this. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video so we can get more people involved in the conversation, y'all. And like I always say, always remember and never forget, without the gospel, it's just chops. Until next time, peace.